presidents, loved by all, except for when they aren't. In this video, we will explore the people who went insane with hatred for the presidents to the point of assassination attempts.
There have been a variety of attempts to assassinate almost every president throughout the history of the United States.
Only 4 assassination attempts have been successful: Abraham Lincoln, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy.
As we delve into these deadly tales, we ask that you prepare yourselves.
The subject matter we are dealing with can be tough.
We know that some may be uncomfortable hearing about the destruction of freedom.
Shall we begin? On January 30th, 1835, a house painter named Richard Lawrence attempted to shoot Andrew Jackson outside the Capitol building. He used 2 different pistols, which both misfired. Jackson then promptly beat him with his cane. Lawrence was found insane and sent to a mental institution until his death in 1861.
One night in August 1864, Abraham Lincoln was riding unguarded to Soldiers' Home. He was shot by a lone rifle, the bullet just missing his head and going through his hat.
Holy Mother of the Union!
Abraham Lincoln was successfully assassinated April 14, 1865 by the actor and Southern sympathizer John Wilkes Booth. He shot Lincoln in the back of the head during a play Lincoln was at with his wife.
James A. Garfield was assassinated on Saturday, July 2, 1881. Charles J. Gautier, who concealed himself by the ladies' waiting room at the 6th Street station of the Baltimore and Potomac Railroad, shot him twice. He was at the scene and later arrested and sentenced to death. Garfield died 11 weeks later due to infection.
William McKinley was assassinated on Friday, September 6, 1901, at the Temple of Music in Buffalo, New York. He was shot twice in the abdomen at close range by Leon Slogos. The first bullet ricocheted off a medal or button on his jacket and lodged in his arm. The second pierced his stomach. He died 8 days later on September 14th.
In 1909, Captain Porfirio Diaz planned a summit in El Paso, Texas, and Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. It's a historic first meeting between U.S. President and a Mexican president, and also the first time an American president would cross the border into Mexico. On October 16th, the day of the summit, Head of Security Frederick Russell Burnham and Private C.R. Moore, Texas Rangers, discovered a man holding a concealed palm pistol standing at El Paso Chamber of Commerce building along the procession route. Burnham and Moore captured and disarmed the assassin within only a few feet of Taft and Diaz.
3.5 years after he left office, Roosevelt was running for president as a member of the Progressive Party. Before a campaign speech in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on October 19, 1912, John F. Schrank, a saloon keeper from New York who had been stalking him for weeks, shot Roosevelt once in the chest with a .38 caliber revolver. The 50-page text of his campaign speech folded over twice in Roosevelt's breast pocket, and a metal glasses case slowed the bullet, saving his life. Schrank was immediately disarmed and apprehended, and would have been lynched had Roosevelt not shouted for Schrank to remain unharmed. Roosevelt decided that he was not mortally wounded and proceeded to finish his speech with the bullet in his chest.
A bullet can't kill a bull moose.
Afterwards, it was deemed too risky to remove the bullet, so it remained in his chest for the rest of his life. Schrank was thought to be insane and was institutionalized.
On November 19, 1928, President-elect Herbert Hoover embarked on a 7-week goodwill tour of several Latin American countries. While in Argentina, he escaped an assassination attempt by Argentine anarchists led by Servio Di Giovanni, who tried to blow up his railroad car. The plotters had the itinerary, but the bomber was arrested before he could place the explosives on the rails.
On February 15, 1933, in Miami, Florida, Giuseppe Zangara fired 5 shots at Franklin D. Roosevelt 3 weeks before he was sworn in the office. He was not wounded, but 4 other people were, and 1 was killed. Zangara was found guilty of murder and executed March 20th, 1933.
What do you mean you quit? You can't quit, Maya. Do you think we want to be teaching these snot-nosed brats? No. If we don't finish this, we're all gonna get fired. Oh, don't tell Dote? Oh, we're gonna tell him. He's the executive producer. He has to know. Well, I don't care. Sleep in a box in the sewer when you get fired. We can do this without you. We'll replace you. Our viewers are so stupid they won't even notice. No. Good day to you, sir. In the summer of 1947, the Zionist Stern Gang was believed to have sent a number of letter bombs to the president and other high-ranking staff at the White House pending the independence of Israel. The mail staff intercepted the letters before they could do any harm.
No! Don't open that!
On Friday, November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy was fatally wounded by a sniper bullet to the neck and head in Dallas, Texas. He was riding in an open car with his wife. Even though he was not declared dead until an hour and a half after the shooting, he died instantly. The sniper was Lee Harvey Oswald, who was arrested shortly after the shooting. Later, Oswald was shot and killed in the basement of the Dallas Police Headquarters by Jack Ruby. This is the official story, but there are many doubts and conspiracy theories that circulate the public.
In February 22, 1974, Samuel Bick planned to kill Richard Nixon by crashing a commercial airliner into the White House. He hijacked the plane on ground by force and was told that it could not take off with the wheel blocks still in place. After he shot the pilot and co-pilot, an officer shot Bick through the plane's door window. He survived long enough to kill himself by shooting.
On September 5th, 1975, on the northern grounds of the California State Capitol, Lynette Formay pulled a gun on President Gerald Ford. She was apprehended by the Secret Service before she could fire. She was sentenced to life in prison, but was released about 2 years after his death.
On May 5, 1979, Raymond Lee Harvey was found carrying a starter pistol with blank bullets 10 minutes before President Jimmy Carter was to give a speech at the Civic Center Mall in Los Angeles.
My fellow Americans, on March 30th, 1981, President Ronald Reagan and 3 other men were shot and wounded by John Hinckley Jr. Reagan was struck by a single bullet, which broke a rib and punctured a lung. When Hinckley was arrested at the scene, he said he wanted to kill the president to impress an actress named Jodie Foster. He was deemed insane and was confined to an institution. I love you, Jodie!
On April 13th, 1993, 14 men who were believed to be working for Saddam Hussein smuggled bombs into Kuwait to assassinate the former President Bush by car bomb during his visit to Kuwait University several months after he had left office. The attack failed when Kuwait officials found the bomb and arrested the suspected bombers.
What?
On October 29, 1994, Francisco Martin Duran fired at least 29 shots with a semi-automatic rifle at the White House lawn, thinking that President Bill Clinton was one of the men on it.
27, 28, 29! Clinton, is that you?
3 tourists tackled him before he was able to hurt anyone, finding a suicide note in his pocket.
Suicide!
He was sentenced to at least 40 years in prison.
I am Bill Clinton, and I did not have sexual relations during this video. On May 10th, 2005, while President George W. Bush was giving a speech in Tbilisi, Georgia, a man named Vladimir Arutyunian threw a live Soviet-made hand grenade toward the podium. It had its pin pulled but did not explode because a red tartan handkerchief was wrapped tightly around it and delayed the firing pin. Arutyunian escaped that day, but was later arrested in 2005, convicted in January 2006. He was given a life sentence.
In November of 2011, a man named Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez hit the White House with several rounds from a semi-automatic rifle because he believed that he was Jesus and that Obama was the Antichrist.
Barack! Some guy's here to kill you! Thanks, Obama.
Zebras don't change their spots.
Dang it.
In November of 2011, a man named Oscar Ramiro Ortega Hernandez hit the White House with several rounds from a semi-automatic rifle because he believed that he was Jesus and Obama was the Antichrist.
Obama is the Antichrist! Obama is the Antichrist! You guys, Obama is the Jesus of the ants! Ants.
Wait, go now.
I am infection. On March 30th, 1980. Oh, I messed up.
Having fun, Sammy?